Greetings once again. This is Stan. It's a Tuesday, and it's not a trivia edition of Interesting Ideas. Obviously, the fact that I'm on the radio and it is truly point-of-the-moment communication. I can talk to you right now. I don't have to take time to write something up or to print something or anything like that. The magic of radio is it's right now. Well, of course, last night what happened here in the United States was that it was announced that something was going to be announced, and what had happened is that the Supreme Court coming decision on a major abortion ruling and law, someone from the court or somewhere, someone leaked this out. And it has caused quite the stir all around in all of the news services. I am reminded of a mentor of mine, though, who said to me, Stan, if it's in all the news, it's probably not that important. If you're looking for what is important, usually the news people don't even know what's important, and so they aren't covering it. And you know what? I think he might be right. But what I'd like to do today is switch my topic just briefly, because this led to, I think, something deeper that I wanted to talk about later this week, and it's about this interesting idea. How good is your say to do ratio? How good is your say to do ratio? That's a great question, and it's a great, interesting idea, so we're going to talk about it for just a little bit, and we'll begin right now. Okay, again, my name is Stan Houston, and I have lots of interesting ideas, but I also am looking for other people who have interesting ideas, and then we share them. And so, again, full attribution, strategy in business, it's leadership, and a gentleman named Adam Bryant put this little note together, and that's exactly what he was talking about. How good is your say-to-do ratio? And the right balance is heavy on follow-through and reliability. Those who have it will go further in life. Well, let me see if I can segue from what happened. Obviously, as the news people are reporting, is that the United States Supreme Court has a reputation for no leaks. People leak things they're not supposed to all the time, out of businesses, out of companies, out of corporations. And the government is one of the worst places where people violate confidences and they leak things, at least hoping that it will be to their advantage or perhaps to the disadvantage of somebody they're after. But the point was that the Supreme Court had a reputation for many, many years that just did not happen. And as someone pointed out, the idea of someone in the Supreme Court, and it had to be someone at a higher level, doing this act is going beyond the pale, beyond the barriers, beyond just good or bad. It's violating all the principles and the characteristics, and they violate the trust that people might have in the Supreme Court. Well, here's the problem. Somebody, sometime, in their taking a position, made a promise. They were all told, they were all expected, and they all said yes, or they wouldn't be there, that they would always maintain the confidence of the court. They all had to say that. They all had to know that. They all had to agree to that. And they all had to really know that that was important to do. And someone did it anyhow. They did not keep their word. They didn't do what they said they were going to do, which is to always keep a confidence. They didn't do it. So that's the bigger implication. And unfortunately, as I've found out, and as many people, particularly in startup businesses and businesses where it's very vital that you've got a small team or a small gang, as I sometimes say, and we'll talk about the difference between a team and a gang on another program, because that's an interesting idea too. But if you say you're going to do something, you got to do it. I've gone through a major situation just simply because one of the colleagues just didn't keep their word. They said they were going to do it. The major thrust of the business development was based on their known ability to do it, and they said they would. Now, there was no written contract. It was more of a covenant. It was more of a promise. It was more of an expectation that we had of each other. As one guy said, the mark of a good team or a good company is when everybody is subcontracting to everybody else. Now, that's from the article. Isn't that an interesting idea? You're not just an employee, you're subcontracting to everybody else. So it's not just an employee responsibility, it's a covenant, it's a contract. When you say you're going to do something, you will do it. Let me just continue from this wonderful little word that Mr. Adam Bryant has said. Throughout the pandemic, there's been a lot of discussion about the qualities that matter most in employees. We hear about the importance of being an agile learner, or whatever that is, or embracing ambiguity. Okay, I understand that, but that's really kind of conceptual. These are important attributes, of course, but we can't lose sight of a foundational quality that sets the best team players apart. Reliability. What an old-fashioned word. Reliability is the theme that has come up often in my many interviews with CEOs over the years. But it was Brett Wilson, who was at the time of our conversation, was CEO of Tube Mogul, an enterprise software company based in California, who shared with me the memorable concept of the say-to-do ratio. It's important in any organization, but particularly in a startup where all the odds are against you in the beginning. I one time heard someone beg off, and I remember this. He said, Stan, it was a great idea, but we did, one of our due diligences, and we found out that the odds were against us, so we didn't do it. I just sat there, and I said, the odds are always against us. In fact, one of the terms we use in what we call the cowboy code is if the odds are against you, if you're a cowboy, that's when you do it. That's when you really do it. You do it when the odds are against you. You do it anyhow. So, you just need people who follow through. And it's a lot more fun when people you work with do that. You can count on them. You can get by with fewer layers of management. And guess what? Communication flows faster. There you are. What is your, say-to-do ratio? By the way, I would really encourage you to take this interesting idea. First of all, I'd love to hear your comments about it. And obviously, tell me stories of employees or partners or colleagues who have that quality, and share it with me, and let's shout out about them. On the other hand, sometimes we just have to remind ourselves that there are too many JEs. There are Judas events that take place in life and business. And we simply need to be aware that that often happens. And the mark of us as interesting people and of people of endurance and reliability is we know what to do or how to deal with those kinds of people who can't be trusted, who aren't reliable, who maybe, they don't keep their word. Their say-to-do ratio is poor. This has been 10 minutes of an interesting idea. I hope it's been helpful. I'm Stan Houston. We'll be right back with a further challenge and a further idea. And again, I make sure I try and do it 3 times. Thank you to Mr. Adam Bryant, who is a managing director of XCO Group, a senior leadership development firm, and he is the co-author of the CEO Test. Master the challenges that make or break all leaders. The CEO Test. Master the challenges that make or break all leaders. Good piece of work, and I'm going to follow up on that interesting idea because it also rings with my own experience. And someone said, Stan, you don't have to do that. You don't have to still do that. And I said, I gave my word. I gave my word. It's costly and inconvenient, but I gave my word. And I'm still doing it. I appreciate you if I can be of help to you. By the way, one of the persons you need to have in your stall of good people are people like me who have a little bit of wisdom, insight, and truth. And as my wife often says, you know what? Stan, you're just so full of good ideas, sometimes you drive me crazy. I can't take it all. Well, that's true, and that makes me a little bit boring to her, a little bit challenging to her, but you need people who come in and in a coaching, consulting, I hate that word in some respects, a coaching and mentoring and teaching and storytelling way to help you come up with good ideas. Because innovations and creativity and meeting challenges you've never seen or met before all have to be done. Not with the same stuff you've done before, but with new ways of thinking, new ways of doing, and new ways of solving old and perennial problems. I'd be glad to help you. I'm Stan. You can reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. And remember, how good is your say-to-do ratio?